I think as an artist, you always get more no's than yeses. Having that love of your craft is a gift that most people never experience, and that's something that is, more valuable than money or fame or anything like that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the FYI Podcast, Finding Your Inspiration, where we find it and we follow it. We're here today with Zachary Aronson. Okay, this is my first time sitting down with Zachary. We met at a show in West Hollywood. I think it was a play or like a sketch night, but met Zachary, in the reception room. We started talking, him in a group, and he is an artist, but his art is nothing I have ever seen before. So we're going to jump right back into it because this is cool. Zachary, talk to me, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a good
pleasure to be here.
So you do your art with flame torches, handheld flames. I mean, how'd you get into this?
That's right. I use blow torches and flamethrowers as my paintbrushes on wood panels.
What?
Yeah, I started working with fire about 12 years ago, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a drawing class back in college, and I forgot to bring paper. So I didn't have anything to draw on. So I found this scrap piece of wood by a dumpster, and I did a charcoal drawing on it.
What?
Yeah, I love the results. So I started buying wood panels to draw on. And
Nice.
A few months after that, I was working on this sculpture made out of wood. And I wanted to do this illustration on it, and pencil wasn't picking up well due to the texture of the wood. I'm too lazy to wait for paint to dry, so I'm thinking to myself, what's the most efficient way to get this illustration on this sculpture? And I had the idea to use a small butane torch, a lot like this one here, that I owned for silversmithing.
Wow.
To burn the silhouette into the wood panels, and it worked really well. So I started integrating that into my drawings on wood, initially just for like backgrounds, black areas and whatnot.
Right.
But as I did that more and more, I developed this control, and eventually I just stopped using pencils and buying different torches to experiment with. And now 12 years later, I can get more detail with fire than I ever would have thought it was physically possible when I first started.
Did you originate this? Is there anyone else doing this, or is this this is like your thing?
As far as I know, it's my thing. My process is entirely self-taught. Since I began, I'm starting to see some other artists play around with fire.
Okay.
So I'm seeing people work it into their paintings and then use metal bits and other things to work with fire, but I've never found anyone who does it the way that I do.
Wow.
I focus on portraits, and all of my portraits are freehand from life with open flames. So there's no underdrawings, there's no projection, no photos. I have a person in front of me, I have a blank piece of wood, and I have fire.
Wait a minute. I thought you drew the people and then just touched it with it. It's the flame creating these amazing pictures?
That's right.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man. I didn't know that. Like, actually, when I went and looked up your website and your Instagram and stuff, I thought you were sketching these with a brush or whatever, a pencil stuff, and then just hitting them with flames. You're creating the whole image?
All of the sharp lines, all of the
Wow.
shading, everything with fire.
That seems insane to me. That seems like an incredible skill set. What's it looking like for you? You getting your stuff's moving? You got a studio here in LA?
It's moving along. Yeah, my work kind of, there are multiple revenues. So I do commissioned work. So people will approach me to do portraits or other imagery. I do a lot of live events. So people will hire me to go out to their party, to their gala, whatever it is, and I'll on the spot create these portraits.
How long does it take? So if you're doing a portrait of me, we're at a party, and how long does that take to do it?
Well, full portraits, like we're talking, most of them are 6 to 8 feet tall. If you do a single panel, it's going to take me 2 to 3 hours. Multi-panels will take a bit longer than that. what I'll do a lot of the times at parties is a lot of smaller pieces. So on a piece of wood like this right here, if you give me half an hour and these torches, I can have a photorealistic image of your eye or whatever feature I want on here.
Wow.
So it actually comes together very quickly. It's a very delicate process. You think of working with fire as something that would be very harsh and jarring, but because it's, it'll burn so quickly and my hand always needs to be moving. I can't stand still. So it's a lot of like very precise and quick movements, and based on the size and shape of the flame, the heat of the flame, by what gas I use, how close it is to the wood, how fast I move it, the angle, all of these things. I have this wide array of different effects I can use to make these realistic portraits.
That's fascinating, man. It really is fascinating. So did you have any experience with, like, just when you're talking about the types of gas or butane you're using and the levels, did you have experience with fire before this?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I've always known I wanted to be an artist since I was, 5 years old. I always had a pencil and a sketch pad with me. I've even kept everything from that age. I have thousands and thousands of drawings that I've done throughout my life. Although I never would have imagined that fire would be my primary medium, but whatever I could make with my hands. So I would do drawings, I would make sculptures. When I was a kid, I'd use printer paper, Scotch tape, and scissors, and I could make anything you could imagine. Wow. I moved on to some woodwork. I have a background in welding and casting and ceramics, glass, bronzes. I lived in Italy for a month learning marble carving in a town called Pietrasanta where Michelangelo used to carve.
Wow.
So if I can use my hands to make it, I can probably do it.
So all these skills you've been acquiring, have you always acquired these skill sets for the purpose of artistry? Always. So like the welding and everything was intended, you're going to create out of that. If you could put your hands on it, you're going to make that come to life.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's incredible, man. What took you to Italy? Was it Michelangelo? Was it the fascination with, a fellow artist who?
It kind of was. So I've been to Italy many times. For that trip specifically, it was not my first time in Italy, okay, but it was sort of the hub of marble carving. And I went and I chose my 600-pound block of marble that came from the same mountain as Michelangelo's David, and I lived in the town where he used to carve, and I worked with a old marble carver who's been doing it since he was a kid, and he taught me his the ways. So it did feel very very much like an old-fashioned like apprenticeship, which I really appreciated.
That's awesome, man. I love that. Just sitting with you, I could tell that you have true passion for the craftsmanship and what you're doing. And as an artist and, me, as a filmmaker, actor, I appreciate that. I appreciate that your medium is something that you love and you want to nurture, and you're putting the real, work in to be an expert, and you're making it your own, which is what all of us aspire to do, is create and put our own footprint on it, which is what you're definitely doing in the medium you're in. That's great. I want to talk a little bit about how so you always knew you want to be an artist, but how did you make the decision? Like, how did you steer that way for people listening that are like, oh man, I kind of love this, but how did you steer to do it? Or did you just always know?
I just always knew.
Okay.
It was never a decision like I'm going to decide to pursue art professionally. It was in my core. It is who I am. It always has been. And it was never a question. There was never an alternative. It was just part of me that I couldn't ignore.
Wow. Did you have a support system? Family, like growing up, were there people for a young kid out there that might be watching? Did you have a support system? School, were there good mentors that knew you had a gift and wanted to nurture that, or did you just find it by yourself?
Yes, I did. I was very fortunate that I, was raised in a family that really valued the arts and did not try to convince me to do something more practical with my life. So I I was able to take these art classes and to be encouraged in that way, which was, a game changer for me as an artist and helped me become who I am today.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be where I am without that, support and motivation growing up. And I did go to, went to a high school that was focused on the arts, and I was able to take the advanced courses when I was in middle school. I went off to USC, where I studied studio art as my major, and straight from there I went to Cal Arts for graduate school. And
beautiful.
Yeah, so I've very much been purely focused on this path. I had a lot of really wonderful mentors in my, throughout my studies. I had Charles Gaines as a mentor when I was up at Cal Arts, who's having a really great moment in his career right now, which is great to watch. And I've known a lot of really influential artists throughout my life who I think have had a big effect on me.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. It's great. So let's talk about, so you come out of Cal Art, and when did you exactly learn? I know we talked about the flame. Was that in high school when you developed this skill?
Or
was this in college?
That was in college. That was my last year at undergrad when I started experimenting with fire, and then I sort of dove into it in my time at Cal Arts.
Okay.
In Cal Arts, I actually started off in the art school, and I ended up getting 2 degrees while I was there.
Wow. One wasn't enough.
One wasn't, apparently. So I, at the end of my first year in the art school, I had this idea to do this massive installation on the front lawn of Cal Arts, pretty much. And there's this big empty grassy field, and I was like, why don't I make a sculpture there? I was frustrated by the lack of gallery space, and my work is so big. I really wanted a place to put it.
Yeah.
So I came up with this whole plan, and I brought it to my mentor, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And they're like, nope, you can't do that. It's not the art school space. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, wait a minute, whose space is this? I go to the institute headquarters, and I have this whole presentation ready. I bring it to them. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And they say, how can we help?
Nice.
I got the space. They turn off the sprinklers. I spent a month. I must have done the portraits of 15% of the student body. I had 166-foot tall redwood panels portraits built into a maze. It was 64 by 48 feet. And I collaborated with 40 other students from every school at Cal Arts. I had dancers, musicians, actors, lighting design, sound techs, everything in there, and created this happening. And the dean of the theater school saw it. He walked through it on the way to his office one day. He tracked me down and invited me to the master MFA set design program.
Wow.
So now I have a background in set design, which I bring into my art, which is really what excites me the most.
Super, because that makes it, bigger. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That branches out.
Yeah, because my portraits aren't the end of my art. They're building blocks. I'm working on these wood panels, which I can build whatever I want out of. So I'm really fascinated in building these large-scale immersive environments out of my artwork, which is where my passion is really at. So I'm currently at a place in my career where I'm shifting focus away from portraits a little more into these immersive installations, and sort of going back to my background in set design. And there's a long lineage of very successful artists who have done set design. You're looking at Salvador Dali, Robert Rauschenberg, William Kentridge, all these guys. That was a big part because a lot of their, biggest work is too big for any gallery, too big for any home. So rather than finding a space large enough to put my work, I'm going to build it from the ground up.
That's awesome, dude. That is so, I'm trying to break that. What's great about just hearing that is you had an idea, you had a vision, and it was denied by the department. And you thought about it you found a way to circumvent that. It was like, well, if that doesn't belong to us, who does it belong to? You went there with a presentation. There's so much to be said in just that right there, in the drive, and your drive, and not taking a no or getting an obstacle, and a way to find a way around that obstacle to basically there is no, and just keep pushing forward, the fortitude to keep pushing forward to get your creation done. And there's a lot that we could take from that, no matter what field we're in. You know, it's just always finding that angle and thinking outside of the box to get around to make things happen. So that's awesome, man.
Just have to ask the right person.
Yeah. And do you find it in your journey that you get more yeses than nos, or more nos than yeses?
I think as an artist, you always get more nos than yeses.
Got it.
We get used to it, and whether you're a visual artist, a musician, an actor, whoever you are, it's like most people are gonna say no.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to develop a process and have my art is unique to the world, which is something that's extremely rare in the art world or in any world. It feels like everything's been done before. So that has been really, beneficial for me and has allowed me to get many more yeses than I think I would have otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like what you're doing, that's what's so cool and so innovating, is it's, I feel the same way with films and filmmaking. It's so difficult to come up with a fresh new, it's almost at the point, almost feels impossible, but there's always that visionary that, and we all strive to be him, but I feel like I'm sitting down with actually one right now, and you figured out something fresh and new to bring to, this incredible art world, and some of the greatest, that ever lived on the planet have done it. So you're contributing something of your own. That's great, man. That's exciting. So you have a studio here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans on taking this abroad again? Like you're like, as far as starting studios in other places, or you're pretty centralized here in LA right now?
This is my hub. I do travel for work. I'm able to ship my work internationally, and, I can, buy torches or ship them wherever. So I really can make my artwork anywhere. Currently, I'm actually in the process of moving into the largest studio I've ever worked in, which I'm very excited about. It's 4,000 square feet, tall ceilings. It's really a blank canvas where I can build anything I want. So I'm beginning my most ambitious project ever right now. So I'm planning it out, which is gonna be this massive sculpture that is portable and modular. So think a monumental sculpture that can be reconfigured like a Lego set and folded down, fit into a van, ship it around the world, and build it anywhere. And it will be site specific. It will adapt to the environment that it's in. And I'm planning to go back to my set design roots and collaborate with directors and choreographers and composers and all of these different creatives, and inviting them into the space to create original work.
Wow.
Being a visual artist and someone who works spatially, creating environments, I think is really wonderful for, just a visual artist, for people to explore those places, but it also creates an opportunity to build platforms to uplift other artists who might not otherwise have the space to really create and make something unique.
I feel like we're on the verge of something like in 5 years, we're going to be like, dude, Zachary was like, was on this podcast. What work can you talk about? Is there anything that we could look out for that, for people that are looking or researching, that could go online and check out any exhibits? Is any of your work anywhere now?
I have a couple permanent collections, some work in permanent collections around the country right now. I've had 12 solo gallery shows to date, many around the LA area, but also out and about. Right now I'm in a stage where I'm kind of locking my studio door and really focusing on this project, which is probably going to take me at least a year, potentially a lot longer than that. I'm not quite ready to share the details of that project, but stay tuned, and it's going to be...
We'll have you back on when that thing's ready.
It's going to be something special, let me tell you.
Now, do you have investors, private investors, or do you get grants or anything that help for some of the financing of this stuff, or is it like all self-financing? And
It's a mixture. I'm in the process of applying for some grants actually for this project, because it is something that's so large scale, and I'm gonna need to accumulate a lot of work that I need to keep for this project. Cool. So I'm at a stage right now in my career where I'm still doing commissions and people can approach me for certain work, but I really want to veer away from that to do sort of my larger scale work to fulfill a larger vision. Because just doing portraits is fine, but I don't see myself as a portrait artist, and that's not how I would like to be seen either. I think I'm capable of so much more than that, and I'm really excited to be able to create that. And now in this new space, there is nothing and no one holding me back. I can just build freely.
Yeah, I have no doubt that you're about to break some ground on something big here. And for anybody who's listening, we'll put your social media handles and stuff, and if they're interested in helping or contacting you, they can. What major obstacles do you feel that you faced? Mainly, I guess our podcast is mainly looking to focus on, like, how much have you ever suffered like imposter syndrome or self-doubt? Have you ever come across these kind of issues, like as an artist, of like, I mean, obviously now you have this craft and you're getting better and better, but I'm assuming over the times it's been before you had this revolutionary idea of using flame. And did you ever feel like I'm stagnant, or I'm not really creating anything new and fresh?
Absolutely, and I think that's something that I would say most artists grapple with at some point in their career, if not for their entire sometimes. It's so hard to come up with something unique, and even when you do, it's like, is this good enough? Can I be better? Like, am I, I'm not gonna, just start something new and suddenly be, display my work in the Guggenheim. So it's a process to get there and to get that recognition, which is a struggle. And, as an artist, we want to be making art. We want to be in our studios. And now I think everything is so focused on marketing and social media and coming up with, using trending videos and sounds and doing all of that, which I steer away from. Yeah. I'm sure I could have more followers if I did the turnaround and the canvas reveals and use all of the, the hip hop songs and all, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it cheapens my art in a way. I feel like I lose some of my artistic integrity through that process. And I'm at a stage right now, admittedly, I should be, posting a little bit more, but I don't think that that's something that should drive us as artists and affect our process. And I think it makes a lot of artists work smaller and less creatively, because there is now these set parameters that lead to success on social media that everybody is doing. Right. So being able to step aside from that and to spend a year on one project is something that you don't see very often anymore, because it doesn't translate to all of this content.
Yeah, and I think that's universal through the mediums of art, right? Because same goes for, say, the acting. It's like it's how do you market yourself without feeling like you're cheapening your work. Sometimes you just want to be in the theater, in the studio, and just do the work and craft. And but there's just so much saturation in the industry, and I guess that goes for, I have this conversation a lot with artists and writers that are just like completely not even on social media, but it's social media is such a influencing, powerful tool in today's existence. And it's almost like you're right. You do have to kind of use it and but it's like you just want to like do the work, you know, you just want to create things. So I understand it's a hard balance.
Yeah. And it is something that's important, and I, recognize, you're putting my Instagram up right now so people can find me and give me work and give me, like, I understand that it's important, but I think it's also important not to let it shape your craft too much.
Right.
Right.
When we find the person that's doing that actual thing that is fresh and new, and to observe it, recognize it, and support it. Meaning, if I'm a financial guy and I want to be part of something great imagine the person who financed Michelangelo. I'm assuming I'm not the most intelligent, but I'm assuming the Pope, I guess, with like the Sistine Chapel was the Pope. And, I've been there and it's just breathtaking and to be in there. And so, yeah, it's like, imagine like the Pope gave this opportunity for him to, and how long did it take him? He was up
10 years.
10 years. He was up, and they said there's like, he wouldn't shower at times. He'd just be up there for days at a time, sleep there and then wake up and work. And it's like, we have to recognize when we see genius and band around supporting that and let an artist create and do the work. And easier said than done, but I hope that happens. I hope somebody sees what you're doing and says, man, this guy's great. And I want to be part of this. And I want to know how I could support, because not all of us have the vision, and not all of us. That's one thing I'm starting to recognize in life. Like, not all of us have the gift, but it doesn't mean we're not gifted. So let me say that to the camera. Not all of us have the gift, doesn't mean you're not gifted. So find that village. There's many ways, even somebody with an incredible talent like yourself, Zachary, there's ways we could be part of that village and help support what you're doing. And maybe we put our footprints in the sand with you. So I hope somebody watching, or this helps in some way to get that for you. And I have no doubt it's going to happen, man. You're doing great things, man. I'm excited about it. Cool. So Zachary, let's talk a little bit about FiveYear Plan. I know you have this 1-year plan. You're creating your biggest piece of work to date. What's your plan when that's created and you're like, this is it? I don't know if an artist is ever fully happy, but when you're like, this is it, what's the dream plan? And you don't have to get into too much detail of like who, but where do you see yourself 5 years with your art?
Okay. My first step is to create this monumental sculpture that's entirely too cool to be ignored. Honestly,
yeah,
I am confident in my ability to create something that's unique and breathtaking, and I think will be celebrated. Hopefully that doesn't make me sound too whatever.
It's all right.
But,
you believe in it.
I do believe in it, and now with this new space, there's nothing preventing me from doing that. I think for a long time, working in a smaller studio, I felt like a bird in a cage and I couldn't quite spread my wings. And now I feel like I'm just moving into that stage of my career where, anything is possible and no one can tell me no. So my plan is to focus on this installation, this portable modular theater sculpture, whatever it is. And then once that's there, I want to invite these other creators to come up with these productions. And I'm able to workshop those in my new studio, and then it's time for it to travel. This entire thing is portable. I want to send this to biennials. I want this at festivals. I want this at Freeze, at the LA Art Show. I'm able to create this pre-packaged art performance that crosses through all these different mediums, that is unlike anything that has existed. And then once it is, hopefully attract a top tier gallery and have my art moving in that way, but really to be in a place where I can focus on these massive projects rather than smaller pieces.
Yeah.
That's what's really exciting to me.
Man, I'm excited. I'm like, how do I get involved, man? Somebody like that's at home listening. What advice do you have for them that, that helped you push through?
My advice to you would be, if you have a passion, if you have something that you love doing and can see yourself doing forever, something that excites you, don't let go of that to conform to social norms. Because yes, it's probably not going to be the thing that's most financially lucrative. It might not bring you the most recognition, but persevering through that is the best thing you can do, because having that spark, having that passion, having that love of your craft is a gift that most people never experience, and that's something that is more valuable than money or fame or anything like that. And having that passion, developing those skills, having that excitement is what attracts people and what will bring people to you, and is how you will succeed in those other ways. So never let go of that. Never let anyone tell you this isn't practical, this won't make enough money, this isn't, you should be doing this instead, if you have that thing that makes you feel alive, that you want to do for the rest of your life.
Man, thank you so much, Zach. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm definitely following your journey. Any way, that I could help. I don't think you need help, but I could contribute a grain of sand or salt, any little piece I could play, I'm here for it, or just to support. I'm excited for what you're about to do. I could tell, looking in your eyes, you're about to do something that the world's not going to forget. So keep it up, man. Thank you so much. I'm going to close us out.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I have. I truly feel sitting here, and I don't mean this in any kind of corny, cliche way. I feel like I'm sitting here with greatness. I think Zachary's doing something that's going to be around for a long time. I'm excited to see it. I'm inspired. It's always refreshing to sit down with somebody, an artist especially, that has actually just created something new and something fresh. Great people have done great things. People travel all around the world to look at art installations and to be inspired. Zachary has definitely honed his craft and created something of his own, and he's given it to the world. I'm inspired by that. What that reminds me is that no matter what industry we're in, whether we're artists, whether we're plumbers, it doesn't matter. Always look for ways to make it your own. If it's fitness, if you're a fitness coach out there, you take what the experts have done, what the greats have done. They've set out blueprints. We get inspired, always inspired by others, and then try to make it your own. I think that's truly the way to enjoy whatever we do in life, is to find something we like. Another real important thing was in Zachary's last message. I think a lot of my nephew who's creating and I watch his mind work. One thing he said that was very important: forget about fame, forget about money. If you love what you're doing, if you could see yourself doing whatever it is you're doing every day of your life, don't sleep on that. Don't be scared to conform to what society says in safety. You only get one life here. So chase what you love, enjoy what you do. If you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life if you enjoy it. Doesn't mean you're not going to work hard at it. It just doesn't feel like you're working when you do what you love. This is another episode of FYI. Paul Tully, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.
You should never stress about the problems you be facing. Everybody in the mud on the struggle trying to make it. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration. I'm finding inspiration, and once I get a hold of it, I'll never get complacent. Look into the mirror and you see the motivation. Then you step into the world and you find your inspiration.